Story 1. I never imagined that a summer vacation to the picturesque village of Kardamili in Greece would change my life forever. The sun-drenched hillsides and crystal-clear waters seemed like the perfect escape from my mundane city life. Little did I know that this tranquil place hid secrets older than time itself. My journey began with a quaint rental cottage nestled at the edge of the village. It was a charming stone house with a vine-covered terrace that overlooked the rolling hills. The locals, friendly yet cryptic, spoke in hushed tones about the mysteries that surrounded the region. "Beware the ancient spirits," they would say, shaking their heads. One day, while exploring the winding streets of Kardamili, I stumbled upon a centuries-old monastery, abandoned and overgrown with ivy. Intrigued by its eerie aura, I decided to venture inside. The air was thick with silence, and the shadows seemed to dance to the whispers of the wind. As I wandered through the monastery's corridors, I discovered a hidden chamber, its walls adorned with cryptic symbols and faded paintings of otherworldly beings. A sense of foreboding overcame me, and I quickly retreated. The memory of those images haunted my dreams. That night, I was awakened by a melodic, ethereal song that echoed through the village. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, yet filled with sorrow. It seemed to call to me, urging me to follow it into the darkness. Clutching a lantern, I ventured into the hills, guided only by the ghostly song. The voice led me to a secluded cave deep within the mountains. There, I encountered a group of people dressed in white robes, standing around an ancient altar. They were chanting and swaying, their faces illuminated by the soft, flickering light of candles. The leader, a woman with piercing eyes, beckoned me to join them. Intrigued and under the spell of the eerie music, I hesitated but ultimately decided to step forward. The rituals seemed surreal, and I couldn't comprehend their meaning. It was as though I had been drawn into a world where the lines between reality and the supernatural had blurred. As the ceremony reached its climax, a sudden chill overcame me. The leader raised a dagger high above her head, ready to strike it into the heart of a figure lying on the altar. Panic surged through my veins, and I realized that I had stumbled upon something far more sinister than I could have ever imagined. In my desperation to escape, I knocked over a stack of candles, plunging the cave into darkness. Chaos erupted as the chanting turned to frantic cries. In the ensuing confusion, I managed to slip away, guided only by the dim light of my lantern. Back in my cottage, I locked the door and tried to make sense of what I had witnessed. The memory of that eerie cave and the mysterious otherworldly rituals haunted me. The ancient spirits of Greece had stirred, and I had unwittingly become entangled in their sinister world. For the rest of my stay in Kardamili, I lived in constant fear of the supernatural forces that I had inadvertently unleashed. The locals, once friendly, now regarded me with suspicion, as though I were the harbinger of a terrible curse. When the time came to leave the village, I did so with a sense of relief, but I knew that the secrets of Kardamili and its ancient spirits would stay with me forever. The experience had left an indelible mark on my soul, a reminder that the line between the living and the supernatural was far thinner than I had ever imagined. As I boarded the plane back home, I couldn't help but wonder about the enigmatic village of Kardamili. What other mysteries lay hidden beneath its serene exterior, and what ancient spirits still whispered in its shadows? The story of my encounter with the supernatural would forever be etched in my memory, a reminder that the world is far more complex and mysterious than we often realize. Story 2. In the heart of New York City, amidst the towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, there existed a quaint antique shop known as Hades Relics. It was a peculiar establishment, tucked away in an alley, and many believed it held a dark secret. The shop's proprietor, an elderly man named Nikos, was originally from a small village in Greece. He brought with him a collection of ancient artifacts and curiosities that had been passed down through generations of his family. The shop's main attraction was an ornate mirror, said to be a relic from the underworld itself. The mirror was encased in a weathered obsidian frame adorned with intricate carvings of mythical creatures. Nikos claimed it was a gift from Hades, the god of the underworld, to his ancestors. He warned those who entered his shop that the mirror held a power beyond their understanding. One cold, rainy evening, a curious young woman named Amelia wandered into Hades' relics. She was drawn to the mirror's dark beauty and couldn't resist touching its surface. As her fingers brushed the cold glass, a shiver ran down her spine. Nikos approached her with a grave expression. "You shouldn't have touched it," he said in a hushed tone. "The mirror has the power to reveal hidden truths, but at a great cost." Amelia was intrigued and asked the old man to demonstrate. Reluctantly, he agreed, placing a small, worn coin on the counter. He held it over the mirror, and in its reflection, the coin transformed into a blackened, withered relic. It was a chilling sight. Amelia, undeterred, begged Nikos to let her try. He reluctantly agreed, and she placed a cherished locket belonging to her grandmother on the mirror's surface. The locket, which held a photo of her grandmother, began to corrode and decay before her eyes. Terrified and regretful, Amelia demanded that Nikos reverse the process, but he explained that once the mirror revealed the hidden truth, there was no turning back. Days turned into weeks, and Amelia's life began to unravel. She saw hidden secrets and truths she had never wanted to confront. Dark shadows and ghostly figures started appearing around her, whispering eerie warnings. It was as if she had opened a gateway to the underworld itself. Desperate to end the nightmare, she returned to Hades' relics, but the shop had vanished. It had faded away like a phantom, leaving only an empty alley where it once stood. Amelia was left to grapple with the dark revelations the mirror had brought, forever haunted by the secrets it had revealed. To this day, some say that on stormy nights in New York City, you can still catch a glimpse of the mysterious Hades relics for a brief moment. But they caution against ever touching the enchanted mirror, for its power may reveal truths that one is not prepared to face, and the consequences are far more terrifying than anyone could imagine. Story 3. In a remote village nestled in the Greek countryside, there stood an ancient olive grove. Its gnarled trees, twisted by time and harsh weather, were said to be older than memory itself. The villagers had always revered these trees, believing that they held the spirits of their ancestors and the gods. One evening, a group of adventurous young friends decided to spend the night among the ancient olive trees. They brought tents, lanterns, and food, planning a night of merriment beneath the stars. As they set up camp, the wind whispered secrets through the leaves, and the villagers watched them with concern. As night fell, and the moon cast an eerie glow upon the grove, the friends gathered around a campfire, sharing stories and laughter. But as the hours passed, the mood grew somber, and the laughter turned to nervous glances. Strange sounds emanated from the depths of the grove, whispers that resembled the ancient chants of long-forgotten rituals. One of the friends, a bold and curious soul named Elena, decided to venture deeper into the grove. She claimed to have heard the soft voice of a woman singing, calling her name. Her friends, filled with dread, begged her not to go, but she insisted that she needed to discover the source of the haunting melody. With a lantern in hand, Elena disappeared into the shadows of the olive trees. The closer she came to the source of the song, the more the lantern flickered and sputtered, as if the very air was resisting her advance. The singing grew louder, filling the night with an otherworldly beauty. Elena eventually found herself in a small clearing where a lone olive tree stood, different from the others. Its branches were twisted into an ominous shape, resembling a grotesque, withered hand. Perched on one of the branches was a ghostly, ethereal figure, singing the haunting melody. The ghostly woman, her eyes empty voids, reached out to Elena, and without thinking, Elena extended her hand to touch the specter. In an instant, the ghostly figure's form dissipated, leaving Elena with a sense of overwhelming despair. The lantern extinguished, plunging her into darkness. Panicked, Elena raced back to her friends, but the grove had changed. The ancient trees seemed to have closed in around her, and the once clear path now twisted and turned like a labyrinth. Her friends had begun to search for her, calling out her name, their voices trembling with fear. Elena's friends, too, soon found themselves lost within the grove, unable to escape its ancient grip. The olive trees, once revered, had taken them into their dark embrace, their twisted branches imprisoning the intruders, and the haunting song continued to echo through the night. To this day, the villagers speak in hushed tones of the cursed olive grove, warning against venturing too close to its ancient heart. They say that those who are lured by the ghostly melody become part of the grove itself, their spirits trapped within the twisted trees, forever singing the haunting song of the olive grove.